On to the relics real quick. So relics, these are all my 6-star relics. I'm still kind of chasing the Spider-Man. I think that's the only one I don't have. I don't know if it shows me unowned ones. Let's see. Oh no. Okay, 6-star. No, that can't be right. I have some of those. Okay, so they need to work on that. Anyways, I have pretty much what I think is all of them except the Spider-Man. So once I get Spidey 99, dupe him, rank him, that'll be it. So every now and then, it's same thing with relics. With relics, I'm like, there's two reasons I come to rank a relic. Is either I have something expiring and I need to find somewhere to put it, or I saw something on a video or request from somebody else and they mentioned, hey, you got to use this relic, you're really going to make this guy super badass. And then I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then I come over and I put them on my character and then I rank them up. Alright, and then the 5 stars, I think I have all of those. But again, same kind of scenario. I'm not really highly invested in them. I think as the time goes by, everyone got a little more interested in relics. I'm the average player just like everybody else, where I don't spend a lot of time on the 5 stars either, but it's kind of the same scenario as the 6. If I dupe them, I use them. I try to learn at least who they're paired with. One of the main things that slows me down from ranking up any of the relics is the gold. It's like, if I weren't so damn gold poor, I would rank every one of these things. You know, I would get in the rank game just like everybody else. I'd be ranking them up like champions. But now the problem is you have to use resources, which the resources are separate. Awesome. But they have a shared resource, gold. And when it comes to using my gold, I got to use my gold on a champ. If I need to use my gold to rank up a champ, and then have nothing left to rank up a relic, then the relics get lower priority, and they're always going to stay lower priority until they take that resource requirement away from them. I think they should just use the embers and the catalyst for the relics instead of gold. When you're required to spend gold, you really got to think. Summoners that are already really struggling for gold, you're not going to see a lot of them wasting a lot of gold on relics unless they really have some extra to spend. So for me, it's a splurge. Anytime I get to spend some gold on a relic or whatever, it's just a bonus. It's just a little cherry on top. And then just for the sake of capturing it for the video, these would be my 4-star relics. And then here we go with my 3 stars. I don't even know if I'm missing any of those to this point where it's like, you know, I don't know. You don't know if they're going to revisit relics at a later time or not, but that's all the relics I have right now. Okay, let's take a look at some of the content. So if I go to the story mode, here's the thing, man. Story mode and me, I love the quest, but I don't always have the time or the resources to complete these. It's what I do like to do. When I was working my butt off, I didn't really have the time to grind this game as much as I wanted. I was like, I could play it for 15 minutes here, an hour there, whatever, right? And that's why I couldn't survive in a conventional alliance for the majority of the time that I played this game. But man, when I was able to sit down and play, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. I enjoyed this. Okay, so let's take a look at the act content. So in the beginning, I played probably straight through the first time I played all the way through Act 4, right? That was in the first couple years, 100% that. Act 5, it was Act 5 or Act 6, somewhere around the 12.0 or whatever the hell all that stuff was, and they brought in the Challenger rating, and also the game changed drastically. And the thing about change management, in real life, right, you want to do change in a sprinkle, right? Little drops at a time. You don't want to hit people with a fire hose. And that's exactly what 12.0 was. They hit everybody with a fire hydrant of change all at once. A lot of people quit. There was a lot of content in there. It was holding everybody back, and it felt like a big money grab and all that. It was ridiculous, but it was definitely a weird time in the contest, and a lot of people left. I was one of them that left the game. At that time, I gave up the game, and I didn't come back. I did not come back for probably 2 years. That was probably my longest break, 2, maybe 3 years. And then I got a random email about some changes and stuff or whatever. The difference between when they brought in 4 stars to 5 stars. A lot of people were upset, my 4 stars were worthless, and now you want me to invest in my 5 stars, since they didn't have Ascension at the time. Now with Ascension, they've learned from that mistake, because now when you go to the next level, like 7 stars, it doesn't make my 6 stars worthless, right? So being able to ascend my champs, I can still use them. So a lot of you newer players that come in the last year or so with Ascension, it is a game changer. It was a great idea to keep you to keep your roster viable as the game progresses. As you're trying to acquire new champs at the next level, you can still play your ones at the last level. They're not completely useless. We may even see double ascensions, coming up, because as 7 stars have 5 or 6 ranks on them, we want some of those 6 stars to still be viable while we're trying to get the materials to keep up the others. But anyways, so back to there, somewhere around there. Then Act 6, I came back. Act 5 was completely out. I want to say that was the first time when I did the double progression. So I know when you go to right here, somewhere around where it was uncollected, right? It was complete Act 5, Chapter 2, and now that's or rank up 5 6-star champions to rank 2. Now, they just recently redid all this stuff to make it faster to progress for new players, but back then we had different requirements, and some of these stuffs were speed bumps, right? But when I came back, I was like, okay, they changed a little bit of this and that, whatever. I got into play again, and then I did the uncollected to Cavalier at the same time of Cyber Weekend. Now, that one was 4th of July. So one of them was 4th of July and one of them was Cyber Weekend. So anyways, that's when I learned that, hey, you buy all the deals and then you rank up, you hit your rank up requirement, right? Because the deal was to complete the story progress and then just need to rank up 1 champ to hit the requirement to go to the next progression level. So that's what I did. I completed the act requirement, and then I was waiting to rank up 1 more champ. So I bought the entire store out at the uncollected level, and then I ranked a champ, and the store refreshed. And I bought the entire store again at the Cavalier level, so I got the double dip. And that was way back when it was a lot more important. And what that did is that caught my account up for the 2 years that I missed. Just in that alone, because you used to have a limit of 3 purchases per deal, not 4. And once they limited you in the store, there wasn't even a web store. So there was a time where you could only buy a certain amount because they didn't want people to, outpace other players just by buying deals. But what those deals did allow me to do was allow me to catch up. So, and that's when I realized, man, I'm right where I left off, basically with the other players. And I hopped back in and played Conventional Alliance for about another year or so, however that went. Made Thronebreaker. And then when I went Thronebreaker to Paragon, I did the same thing. I bought the store at Thronebreaker, ranked, waiting to get my 1 rank up for Thronebreaker. That was Act 6, Chapter 4. And then I ranked up and went to Paragon. I did not double buy the store Paragon to Valiant. Not sure how to go now, but it's got a little more expensive to do as you go. Now, the reason being, I spend because I enjoy it out of my entertainment budget, I would say, right? But back then, you could still farm revives. So you either had to grind units or grind revives to do the content. So if you were having trouble completing content, you had to find the time to do all that first before you go in to make a run. And that's kind of how the game was. Right now, same thing. Without revive farming, you have to expect that you're going to use some potions and some units. So you have the unit farm instead before you go to complete the content. Now, all this content now, my roster will overpower it. I just got to get in and do it. And the problem being now is, like, you look at these rewards, Act 6 rewards are pretty much meaningless to my account. So it just becomes for funsies, right? Act 6 was one of the craziest ones where I think I quit again. That content come out. It was all about getting your boost, using boost to pass gates and all this other bullshit. Let's see, champion items or whatever the hell. I don't even know where those things are, but I know I have them. I know I have the boost and all that stuff. It's not fun. It's not fun. So once they wrecked story quest, I was like, nah, that was the only reason I was playing. I said I wasn't playing arena. All I was doing was collecting champs to rank up and playing story quests and monthly event quests. I was just questing. And that's it. And every now and then I was playing arena, but I still played quite a bit. There wasn't a lot of content being completed. So it brings me now to Act 7. See, 43%. I did the first pass. I started working on this with the 7 stars, because now when I do chapter 7, it double dips on the Karina challenge, right? There's one that says finish with 7 stars. So there's kind of a balance there. I'll come back to those. I only come back into these when I'm doing a Karina challenge, when there's nothing else to do. But there's so much other to do always in the contest now, or it's like the story just kind of falls to the wayside because the same thing. By the time I get in there to do it, the rewards, I could probably go and do Act 8. Those are still current. I just got to find the time to do it. Act 9, I haven't even done number 1. Reason being here, this guy. So I waited. I got it all done. I was ready. I was waiting right here. And then they come in and it was like, well, the last couple bosses have been like bullshit. I liked this cane. This cane with the slipstream and all that stuff. Okay, it's all right. But see, some of these boss fights just get stupid. And that's where I'm just kind of like, well, I don't know. So sometimes a boss fight turns me off, and I don't want to spend all the units just to complete it, to learn it. And the only reason being that is because I think you should be able to duel the boss. And they should limit it a couple times or whatever, but I should be able to practice a couple times without having to go through the whole quest and go in there and get my ass kicked and throw 3,000 4,000 units at it, $100 $200 whatever, just to complete it one time. No. So that's when it was like, when you're buying units and you don't have the time to farm potions or revives when you could, and you don't have the time to do arena all the time every day because you're a working man, and I was working probably 70 hours a week up till last year. I just didn't have the time, but I wanted to play the game, but I didn't want to spend $300 to buy units to complete a quest either. So that's where they sit. Now that I have the time, I might get in there. I can get in there and complete them because now I actually play a little better. I have better roster, all that other stuff. But again, it just becomes to how do you want to spend your time. I enjoy story quests, so I go and do it like everybody else. I do it when I have to, and then I come back to it if I have the time. Which leads me to pretty much the other stuff. The back issues, let's see, same kind of scenario with those. Completed the first couple that came through. That was back when 5 stars were a big thing. It was about the time that the 5 stars were the top champ and they were a little bit more relevant, but now it's like the rewards weren't even worth completing, so it's not really worth my time. And across the breaks that I took when I came back, I was like, this is a waste of time. Because either I had the time, I didn't have the time, or the roster to do it, and then when I did come back and I had the roster to do it, I don't have the time. I was like, I got to be really bored. But now I'm in a situation where I can go in and really overpower these quests and just knock them out if I want to. But again, I got other stuff to do. But I am in a good situation on the account where it's maybe something I could go revisit some of this old material with newer champs and just let them tear it up. So if you'd like to see something like that, let me know in the comments and we'll maybe consider it. I definitely have some quests in there that have not been completed. So when you look at the Everest content, here we are here. I 100%ed the 7 stars, but actually I just finished that, I want to say 2 months ago. I was like, man, I didn't even know that thing was in there. So that got put in during one of my breaks or gaps when I wasn't paying attention. Grandmaster Gallant, have not done it. I have, that's the one that's you had the keys for, right? So I have 5 keys for that, I think. Never done it. Eternity of Pain. When that one came out, I was the same way. I was like, I went through, I got the minimums of what I needed to do. I had trouble with some of that content at the time. So again, I didn't have the resources farmed. I didn't have, tons of potions, and I didn't have a bunch of units from the arena. So I really couldn't play that even if I wanted to. And then Necropolis. When I did Necropolis, I did the run when it came out, and it was the last time that revive farming was still around. So I did the single pass. Yep. The single pass right there because that piece was in there. Yep. And this one. It was the Cursed Deathless piece and the Mastery Point. I was like, well, those 2 pieces alone, that was 5,000 units if you want to skip that and buy the Deathless Guillotine piece, I think it was, right? Yeah, Deathless Guillotine. And then the Mastery Point, the extra Mastery Point, that's priceless. You can't put a price on that. So I was like, well, regardless of how many units it cost me, I need to go through that. So I went back in the arena for the first time in like 4 years. And I grinded arena, and at the same time, I was grinding arena and grinding potions, grinding arena and grinding potions. And I went through there on the Aegon method, a single pass, and I was surprised. I was, oh, okay. Once I got past the Titania, I probably spent most of my stupid revives on Titania trying to ramp up Aegon, and I was like, man, I did it all wrong. I spent probably 40 revives just ramping him. To even get started, but then once I got in, I was like, okay, I ended up finishing it. I remember everyone was saying it was going to be about 100 revives, and I was like, well, I'm going to farm 150. So once I had 150, I went in, and I finished with some left. So I didn't count what it was. All I know is I didn't have to use any of my unit resources, which was awesome. So once I got through that, I was like, okay. So then I was like, that's a good idea. I was like, I guess you can kind of use that as a benchmark. It's going to take you about 100 revives per pass until you get good or get the roster. And now I probably have the roster. I just don't have the skills. So I need to work on that. I do plan on going in and finishing the Necropolis. I just got to, that's one of my goals, is to just kind of get good enough to make passes at Necropolis. So as I rank up the champs that I want to take in there, that's kind of what I'll be doing with that. And then, of course, I have done 100% Road to Labyrinth and Realm of Legends. I did Realm of Legends back when it was hard, when you had 4 stars and you had to do it with Star-Lord. I did do that the OG way, and it was kind of like, that was the first time I really learned, okay, all you do is get a rhythm, get in a log fight. The hardest part about that was just not necessarily keeping your combo, but just fighting for such a long period of time. It was like, okay, that's the first long form content that we had back then. And it was like, okay. I went all the way through it, and I was probably on the 2nd or 3rd champ before I even realized that they didn't throw SP3s. I'd been baiting the first 2 fights. I've been baiting special 1, special 2, baiting now. Oh, I'm going to get a special 3. And it was like the 2nd or 3rd fight, whatever it was, I finally accidentally pushed in a special 3 and then throw it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, are you kidding me? They don't even throw special 3s? And then I was like, after that, I was like, oh man, I got this shit. And I just kept going. But there you go, a little story about back in my day. There you go. Now, Crucible. Now, see, damn, I thought I finished that. Holy shit. So, Oh, dude, there's another 2 to 3 right there. Okay, the Crucible was another thing because now I have a little better roster and I play a little bit better, and I've been playing more often. I said this last year I've been playing pretty much solid. I've been playing solid since I became Valiant. When I did that last little double up dip, which was last year July, so I went all the way through last July and last November and then this July. So yes, I've been playing. This is probably the longest run I've been playing in my older years. But I did the Crucible, and I said, "Yep, I kicked its butt, no problem." And then I was like, "Wait, I'm in the normal one." So then I was like, "Well, I might as well finish it. I might as well finish it again because it breaks it down into 4 instead of just 2 runs." So I use it as a practice, and I went in. I was like, "All right, that's not that bad." So then I ran through the other one, and I only used a couple of revives, and I'm like, "Okay, I just need to finish." I could have swore I finished that, but see, again, I got busy with something else, and I just completely forgot. See, until right now, I thought I had already 100%ed that, and that's kind of how it goes sometimes. There's so much stuff going on in this game, you forget about other things, like the stuff that's there forever gets put on the back burner. So the content that is not going away has to wait. So I do the same thing every month. I do the, oh, see, it's already reset as I was making the video, but I usually do the monthly EQ, the side quest. I do daily quests to get the potion and the apothecary. It's pretty much a must. AQ and war every day. Battlegrounds, it depends on the season. So I played the one that you had to get the piece in. Anytime they put a piece in there, I played. I can't say I played every season, but yeah, it's a mode. Yeah, it's a whole nother video to talk about Battlegrounds. Summer of Suffering is the same thing. It was kind of like I do whatever I need to do to get the pieces that I need, and I kind of decide where to go from there. What drives my gameplay is usually the rewards and the time and the resources.